So I taped this entire thing twice already. The first time I taped it, I spent 40 minutes talking about this stuff. And it's not because there's a lot to say, it's just because I didn't know what I wanted to say or how I wanted to say it. The second time I shot it, I realized how terrible of a talking head I am. So I got into editing and it was not working. So I decided I'm going to tape it one more time. Okay, welcome to this video. My name is John Michael Caldwell, and Alexis and I are moving to Los Angeles. So I'm looking for jobs right now in Los Angeles as an assistant composer. I'm going to be documenting my process over the next few months before we move, or while we're moving, and while I'm finding a job, so you guys can see what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and what our entire process was like. So be sure to subscribe for more videos. So right now I'm in the process of sending my resumes and cover letters to potential employers, and while I'm doing this I figured it would be a good subject to talk about with other people that are trying to get into the film industry and the music industry and also trying to do the same thing. These industries are kind of a gray area, and I thought it would be a good idea to show you guys what I'm sending out to people, because a lot of people post videos about composing music, how to compose music, demos, what instruments are good, what instruments aren't good. So I thought it would be more interesting to chronicle my experience in trying to move to Los Angeles, find a job, especially while I don't live in Los Angeles right now. We plan on moving to Los Angeles in June. So hopefully this will help anybody out there that's trying to do the same thing that we're doing or has been thinking about doing it. That is what I hope to accomplish with these videos. Let's jump in to resumes and cover letters and what I'm putting on mine. Okay, so my resume is made up of 5 different sections. The first section is, the first thing I include in my resume is contact information. I know that probably makes people's brains explode, but it's true. I do put my contact information in my resume. Number 2 is skill sets. This section is made up of 4 subsections, and the first section under the skills that I list are operational skills. These are basically consoles that I've worked with, hard disk recorders or tape machines, any type of software that I know how to use. I also tell people that I know how to use Adobe Photoshop or Premiere Pro, that I know how to edit videos, because that seems like that might be something that's relevant to a composer that's trying to put their videos on YouTube, someone like Junkie XL. I doubt he puts all of his material together and then posts it on YouTube. I'm sure his assistants do all of that stuff for him. So I want to make sure that people know that I'm available for certain skills like that too. Maybe you know how to code a website using HTML or CSS. This is all stuff that could be relevant to putting in operational skills, in my opinion. The second type of skills that I add under that are production skills. And I use this term loosely because I use it to encompass a lot of different skills in one. But basically it's where I list that I can create realistic MIDI mockups. I'm comfortable using sample libraries, mixing different genres, miking instruments, session recall, signal processing. Just add anything that you are comfortable doing. Add it all. After that, I like to add technical skills, and this is where I tell people that I'm comfortable rerouting studios, analog gear, MIDI gear. You can tell people that you know how to reformat hard drives. A lot of this stuff sounds obvious, like this is stuff that people should know how to do, but it makes sense to add this stuff on there. And then the last set of skills that I add are personal skills that I've developed over the years, and this could be stuff like photography, Maybe you're proficient at an instrument. Maybe you're really good at designing logos and stuff like that. I think these are all useful skills that you could add in there that seem relevant to the situation. You might end up using some of it. You never know. All of that takes up my first page. My second page is basically dedicated to my experience in the field or any relevant jobs that I've had before. Start with the most recent and work your way down to the earliest in date. I also try to be fairly detailed with the job descriptions for each position that I've held at these places, just so people get a good idea of what I'm capable of, what my duties were, and the types of things that I was responsible for while I worked there. I also use this section to list any artists, musicians, or bands that I've worked with in the past at these places, so people know that I'm used to being around a certain type of client. The fourth thing that I include on my resume is education, and this is a short section for me. Just add the places you've gone to school. It's pretty easy. I've been told not to include the year that I attended these schools or the year that I graduated, and not to include your GPA. I think if you made like less than a 3.5 or something like that. I think that's what I heard. I didn't include my GPA. And the last thing to include on your resume are referrals. I tried to include people who have worked with the different perspectives of my job. Tried to include colleagues, other engineers, bosses, employers, other musicians, instructors or teachers. The second thing that I wanted to talk about today are cover letters, because I also send cover letters with my resume to potential employers. So the first thing that I add to my cover letter, besides my name, my contact information, and who I'm applying to, is that I have my introductory paragraph and I state my name and the position I'm applying for. I try to be really clear about that. My second paragraph is basically me bragging about myself and telling people the skills that I possess that's going to help the studio or them as a composer or an engineer, and the clients that I've worked with in the past, how I've helped them, and just any specific skills that I think will help and make me sound good. My third paragraph is about personal experiences and kind of how I've grown from them and how that is going to help them in the position that I'll be in. A little side note is that something that I also like to add in my cover letters is that I like to tell people that I know how to make coffee. And I don't think this is terribly important for you to know how to make coffee, but I think what it does is that it signals that I know that I'm going to have to grind and I'm going to have to work hard. And I think that will help them separate me from some of the other people, is that I understand that. I think it shows that I'm not worried about doing other tasks that other people may complain about or think are beneath them. And I think that's an important thing to include. And hopefully that gets its point across through my cover letter. I use the fourth paragraph to try and talk about the person that I'm applying to, and I try to tell them how much I adore the music that they worked on, composition that they worked on, any project or musicians that they worked with, anything that I really like. I try to express that to them, and I might even try to pick out something specific about that project just to let them know that I did my research and that I know who I'm talking to and what I'm getting into. Maybe they even built a studio and it's a new studio that I'm applying to. I'll get online, I'll look at it, I'll tell them how much I like the photos, how awesome the studio looks, all the great gear that they got, and that it looks like a really inspiring place to be and work at and grow as an engineer or as a composer or whatever it is that you're doing or that you're applying for. And then I recap everything in my last paragraph, and I make sure that I thank them for taking the time to read the cover letter. I make sure that they know that they can contact me by phone or email anytime, and I restate the position that I'm applying for. And that's everything that I include in my resume and cover letters. So I thought it might also be cool to include templates for resumes and cover letters for people to download if they're interested in this. So I took a little time and put some of that stuff together, and you can download it in the description below this video. Maybe it will help you, and if it does, that's really cool. Let me know if you end up using it. Thumbs up this video if you think the information was useful. Give me a thumbs down if you dislike anything that I said. Either way, you can subscribe to my channel. That way you can thumbs up or thumbs down my future videos. And if you think I left something out of this video, let me know in the comments below what I should have included, or maybe I gave people bad information and maybe I'm doing something wrong. And that is something that I'd also like to know or be aware of. Also, let me know if you're applying to places in the music and film industry, because that would be really cool to meet other people that are in the same position that I'm in. Or maybe you're moving to LA to pursue the same type of thing. So let me know about that too. I think my cat's getting into something, so I gotta go.